All righto. So today we're gonna go through what Lars and me do at our clinic during initial consultation. Yeah, I'll just show the form that we use and how we communicate with people. Now we're a lot more focused on the mind-body integration. So some questions, of course, will be more about what's someone's physical pain, but it's not the traditional sort of chiropractic initial consultation where it's only focused really about the physical problems or the nutrition or more the environment. It's much more, okay, what's someone's energy state and psychological state when they come in, and how is that impacting their body, right? Or how is that impacting what they're experiencing in their body. So much more coming from the perspective of, your body is your friend and it's actually telling you a story, and we got to actually listen to what it's telling you, because it's giving you, a warning or a sign like, hey, something that you're doing right now is not really working. And let's actually truly look at what that actually is, right? So I'm gonna share my screen and show you our initial consultation form. Now, just be aware that each country has, some rules and regulations as to what you have to ask on an initial consultation. So yeah, when you were to, copy and paste this form, just make sure that you add whatever is required in your country as well. So here we go. Good, sweet. So what I like to also, add as another perspective is really like, imagine the whole imagine you yourself was actually a customer to the clinic that you're working in, or, Phil, you're a student. So imagine how it would be for you as future practice owner, right? So really visualize you as a client and see what would you like to experience from the moment, you see the advertisement, or you see the website, or you see the Facebook page or the Instagram post. Like, what would you want the client or your practice member or your patient to experience? Because that really sets the stage already, and it almost like pre-programs them when they actually physically come to your clinic, right? So, like the way we communicate on our website and the way we communicate on Facebook and Instagram, it's already very much from this mind-body connection. And therefore, the people that come into our clinic, they're much more, they're very different kind of people. Most of them don't come in because they have back pain. A lot of them come in actually because they have anxiety or stress or burnout, or they have this sensation that they want to perform more or higher at a higher level. So it's a very different type of clients, and you can already, select or attract those people by how you communicate from the very, very first interaction, which is most likely online, right? Now, after that, when actually someone books in, right? So see how this is kind of like a workflow, or you're almost like you're taking a client through a funnel, right? So the moment they're actually booked in, we use a software called Practice Hub. What people then see when they book in is they get a questionnaire like this. And imagine the questionnaire is not just for you to gather information, which is one purpose, right? But it's also really for the person who is filling out the questionnaire to get them thinking, and really like get them thinking of what's actually going on in their lives, right? So make sure that every single question that you put in your questionnaire adds value, both for you to gather information, but also almost adds value to the person. Like, imagine you're actually asking a question and they're like, I never thought about that, right? So it's almost like, again, this questionnaire is pre-priming the person. So, if you talk about, okay, how to communicate network, when the person actually comes in, I'm almost at the stage already where I don't even need to do this. It's really almost like the person realizes themselves like, huh, okay, I'm in a different kind of practice here. So I'll show you our form now. Well, first some basics, right? And then I have 4 open questions, because I love open questions, because if someone fills out a lot, right, or only one sentence, that already tells something about the person. If a person in answering the question only focuses on them, right, and it seems very unenergized, it already can tell something about their orientation, like, maybe they're internal, maybe they're external. So that's why I really like these open questions, because it really, really shows already on beforehand, you can get a sense, okay, this area of their life seems energized, right? This is something where we can work with. Or this seems a bit unenergized or disconnected. So that's also, one purpose that I really have with the form. So, everything that you pay attention to during entrainment, right? Like, where's their passive? Where's their active? Where's their fight, flight, freeze? Where is their actually energy? It works exactly the same when you read someone's story. So almost imagine, the story that they write here is like it's like their spine that you're palpating. But right now you're just palpating their spine through text. So first up, usually, because most people they come in because of a health challenge, right? So I just ask them, what is their biggest health challenge right now? And why I'm asking for their biggest health challenge is because most likely people have more, but the one that they fill out here is the one that's impacting their lives the most, right? And I do the same for the emotional challenge, mental challenge, and bigger picture, or their bigger meaning, or almost like the spiritual challenge, right? So here you've covered all the houses. This is involving bio. This is involving emotional, right? This is involving lower and upper mind, and this is more involving soul. Got it? I can share this form also as a document, so you don't have to write everything down. Now, second, I want to know which one is challenging them the most, right? And that kind of usually shows like, okay, where is there almost, like this prime, like this magnet, there's a plus and a minus, or this like charge. Either it's the one that contains most charge and needs addressing first, or so it's like the prime, right? Or it will be the one that's like the most draining. Now I want to know what they believe, is really causing this. And it's really interesting. Quite a lot of the times people write here like, it's actually an unhealthy relationship, or my lifestyle, or so quite a lot of people, they are actually pretty aware, what actually the cause is. Then I want to know what is impacting in their life, right? What can't they do? Because, then you sort of figure out what are they really passionate about, right? And what is most painful for them that they right now can't do. What areas of their life does it affect? How would it improve? How would their quality of life improve? And then I want them, so this is where for the first time we're actually starting to create a connection between their body and what they're experiencing in life, right? So, when you communicate network, everything in network is about, how does these tension patterns and how does the posture link to different areas of their life, right? Whether it's their emotional state, mental state, how they interact with people, or even their soul's purpose. Now, with this question, this is the first time they're actually introduced to that themselves. So the question is, where do you notice this challenge in your body? So, like if someone writes down in the emotional challenge that they have a lot of anxiety or depression, they usually draw here that they have like pain in their chest, or pain in between the shoulder blades, or usually they color the head in as well. So here we're not just asking for physical challenge, but also what they experience in their mental or emotional challenge and where they experience that in the body, right? If you have any questions, just put it in the chat, by the way. Now this section is a little bit more like the chiropractic, section. This is stuff that we have to ask. And also for us to just paint a little bit of a bigger picture around their lifestyle. So yeah, work situation, what other stuff are they experiencing, right? And this is a combination of physical things, but also, yeah, a little bit mental things. Yeah, any accidents or surgeries, anything that gives them great pleasure. Yeah, and a little bit more other health and well-being questions. Now, I know Marco at the end of the form, which I think is pretty good, but I haven't changed the form yet. He asks, what would you like to see less of in life? And what would you like to see more of in life? And that's actually a question I would like to ask to my form as well at the end. So right now, I usually just ask that in the actual consultation. And then here they like consent and give their signature. So that is the form that we use. And how I then go about it in the clinic when they actually, so they fill this out before their first visits, right? And the first thing I then do is like, I've already analyzed it and had a little bit of an idea, like, okay, this is probably their pain points, right? And this is area where they're energized. And like, usually when they first come in, I'm just like, okay, tell me your story, right? And the point where they actually start telling their story is also quite significant. So are they going back all the way to their childhood and whatever trauma they had there, or are they going to, the point of where this physical pain started? And that's all like little things that you can pay attention to and build your painting with. And I just let them share their story, and then through listening, again, I'm focused on creating this mind-body connection. So they might say like I'm experiencing a lot of anxiety, right? And like I feel very numb almost in my body, like I don't have any emotions or feelings. And maybe they say like, yeah, like when I was younger, my parents, they weren't really there emotionally, like they were working all the time and I had to take care of my brothers and sisters, right? So through that, it's like, okay, I noticed that there might be like some neglect or whatever it is. And then I asked them, where in your body or around you, right, are you experiencing this anxiety? And just show me. Or I might ask them, it sounds like there's, like quite a lot of pain around parent-child dynamic. If you think about, parents, where do you experience that in your body or around you, right? And then you almost like start to create the map already. And then also you can ask like, interesting. So what's the sensation there? Does it feel constricting or does it feel energized? So you really, through every single question that you say, it's almost like you start planting the seeds or feeding this idea that your body is really representing what you're experiencing in life in past, present, and future, right? And you're also feeding this idea that some parts of their body or their experiences are unenergized, right? And the way they feel that in their body or around them will probably be more constricted or stuck or rigid, right? Or more in freeze, or they stop breathing. So you're just making them aware of those things through asking questions. And then also have them make them aware of like, these areas are actually energized. So usually I'll ask them, so what's something that you're like extremely passionate about? Or what's an area of your life right now that's you know, you don't have to think about it. It just flows. It's just so easy. It's effortless. And when they say that, and then I ask them like, okay, so if you think about that, where do you experience that? And maybe some people were like, it's literally like I feel energy all through my body and it's expanding out. Some people are like, oh, wow, okay, it's like everywhere around me. And it's almost like there's no me there. Like it's just all happening, right? And that all says a lot about external, internal, and then how you would approach the person on the bench. So that's like the first part. And then what I do is I have them, you know, stand in front of the wall, actually here behind me, and I take a picture of their posture. And then I also tell about how, well, again, I tell about how their posture is really a reflection of what's going on in their lives. It's almost like, you know, the posture shows what the nervous system is telling us, right? And then I have them sit on the bench and I do the spinal neural integrity checks. So the passive, the active, and, you know, the subsystems, and I check for the faces. And as I'm palpating them, I really have them feel with me. So as I'm palpating, I'm like, do you notice that this part of your body feels very rigid? And I tell them that we first feel for the passive system, and that's kind of like the freeze mode, right? And I tell them like, you feel the difference between here and here, and how much more energy there is here. So really, again, to just everything to create more body connection, right? And I do the same for the active system and like the neural system as well. And then some people, if it's acute, I do to give them a small entrainment, and other people, I have them sit up again. And then we'll have like a little more of a chat. And then during the report of findings, I make like a drawing of their spine and where I feel different types of tension. And then we look at everything together. So at their postural pictures, the drawing I make of their spine, and what they're experiencing in life. And again, everything to create this sort of awareness that what they're experiencing in life is represented in this grid that's either inside their body or around them, right? And this is, we talk a lot about that with alchemy, but it just seems to make a lot of sense, like with people. So over the last year, I haven't been super busy in practice, so I had like a lot of time to refine my forms and to actually see what works and doesn't work. And now I'm actually really happy with my form and my first and second visit, and pretty much everyone always signs up for a 15 package after the first, you know, the report of findings, basically. So this really works for me, and I can highly recommend implementing that a little bit, you know, about looking at the mind-body connection, because it's a hot topic these days and everyone experiences stress. So really creating the awareness of what they're experiencing in the body, is related to stress they're experiencing at work, or, you know, painful experience of in their relationship, or maybe it's a pain of that they know they have to perform at this level, but in reality they are here. And quite often that creates a gap that's almost feels too hard to bridge, right? And that can cause a lot of pain in someone's body as well. So it's like you're adding these different perspectives and throwing them into into the conversation. And, you know, you come back to that like each visit as well, because, you know, a lot of people after the first visit, they're like, ooh, that was a lot of information, and a little bit overwhelmed. And usually when they come back, the second visit, I'm asking them, so what did you notice, or what did you get from last time, right? And it's pretty bizarre by how many people, if I haven't even then trained them, but so many people, they're like, well, actually, when, you know, creating more awareness, like I had no idea how things were correlated, and that even my posture could be related to this. And I actually already feel lighter, or there's like some more breath there. So even, you know, for you, I think, or for us as practitioners, one of the most important things to realize is that pure awareness is probably the most powerful and significant tool that we have in our toolbox. So really creating more awareness through asking questions, like don't put it out there. It's literally like have them explore. So almost like you gotta ask the right questions and, you know, kind of help them get to that point themselves. Okay, yeah. And it's really like interesting and fascinating, like to have them explore, right? Like you're just there to ask questions and really have them explore and get that aha moment. Because I think that's so much more powerful than, you know, sometimes as chiropractors, we tend to go into the mode of like, we need to explain everything, right? Which
Yeah, and that hero mode as well, like kind of doing the hero mode as well,
yeah,
doing all the work for the person and never actually really seeing any behavioral change.
yeah, and you know, like a lot of people, they come in because they've been disconnected or feel unheard, basically, or not listened to. And you know, you have like, you know, usually our chiropractic things are, or like initial consultations are 30 or 40 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So what if, you know,
the first one,
the first consultation?
Yeah.
So that's like 40 minutes of time where you can really listen and be with a person. And like, where else do they experience that? Because if they go and see a medical doctor, they got 10 minutes and the doctor's only asking questions and like they don't feel heard, right? Because it's all rushed. So, you know, like if you can really almost like approach them from like a friend perspective in this initial visit, and just listen and, you know, direct a little bit and ask them questions as to, you know, where you experience it in your body, or like, you know, create more awareness. Like that's so significant for so many people, and usually only by that, because they feel heard and seen and understood, maybe for the first time in their lives even, they wanna come back and they wanna see more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's.
So you don't do much.
Sorry?
You don't really do much talking the first time, basically.
No, like I do when I'm actually palpating them, right? And then like really sharing, okay, here is more fight and flight, here is more freeze, you know, like, when I'm checking at the heel tension and let's say it's super high, right? Like, are you by any chance like really over analyzing? Or almost you feel like that one moment you're like hyper focused and the next moment you tend to forget everything, which is typical of like a lower mind, you know, challenge, right? And then like people are like, huh? That's just like you describing my life. Like how is that possible, right? And it's like, wow, your feet are showing me that. And like people are like, what the
Why are my feet showing me? Why are my feet showing?
So yeah, so yeah, in the first visit, it's in all visit, it's a lot of them talking, and you just like throw out some nuggets, or at least that's how we do it. And again, I'm not saying that this is the way to go, but I hope that this can inspire you guys. And yeah, like it's been a lot of trial and error, and I think you gotta accept that that's just the case when you just start practice. Like in the beginning when I, you know, just graduated and was in practice and I felt like such a failure. I was like, I've done 5 years of studying and I feel like I don't even know how to communicate with a person. Like, what the hell? And you know, so don't be too harsh on yourself and really be critical. Like, value the failing and value the times where you walk away from a person or from an entrainment and you're like, wow, that was so shit. Like the amount of times that I've called Lars crying, like, I didn't do my best, this person has deserved so much more, but I couldn't get out of my head. Like it's all part of the journey. And I want you guys to know that, because, you know, sometimes it can feel that like everyone's got their shit together, and that's absolute rubbish. Like, you know, it's just reality. It's just reality that when you get out of practice, like things don't work out always. And it's different things for different people. So yeah. And I just hope with, you know, these like talks that we can be real with each other and support each other, and really, you know, yeah, you can feel pretty isolated with network because not that many people are doing it. So I hope with this we get so many more people engaged, and also, you know, just share helpful things that work, and also share the fuck ups, so that we can, yeah, just create, you know, higher level of care and influence more people, or impact more people's lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can send the form that we use during our first consultation.
Yes, please.
Again, like, yeah, just make sure you add whatever other questions you need to add in your country as a chiropractor. Also, like, you know, during a first consultation, in some countries you have to really do like some more tests, like, you know, the ortho-rheuma tests or neurological tests and stuff like that. So any wishes for the next call, topic wise?
It's the other point you had in the chat. What was that?
Around gateways.
Oh, gateways and
yeah. So I mean, like, I had
SRI.
a bunch of different ideas. So like we could hello Nicolette. We could talk about gateways. We could talk about, you know, the faces, even though that might be more easy to actually make videos about. But we could talk about the consciousness of the faces. So, you know, each talk address one face and what it actually really, how it shows up in life.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That was an idea. I could share with you my report of findings. Like, just like, you just please write in the chat, what is it that you need most right now? Maybe not even you. What is it that
I think I will know more when I start.
need most right now?
Okay.
And just write it in the chat. And it can be several things. I mean, we'll keep doing these talks. Yes.
Yeah. I just thought when you said, you know, about the heel tension, you know, and what it means for their life, you know, I was like, oh, of course, you know, and it's like you feel it every day and you kind of just go like, oh yeah, okay, how's heel tension, you know, but to actually then have this extra pause and go like, well, you know, this is how this could show up in their life. I think that would be incredible, you know. So also just the consciousness and, you know, I guess, you know, everyone also picks up on something different with that.
Yeah, exactly.
As in, you know, which I think is really, really cool, you know, just to hear what do you guys pick up with that phase, you know, like what kind of consciousness or what kind of things would you mention with that?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I guess it's just a way of going a bit neutral, you know.
Like, and also
saying the same thing,
that,
or like,
you know, I think it's really putting yourself in the perspective of the client. You're welcome, Phil. I'm glad to have you part of it.
Hi, Phil.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, really, really putting yourself in the perspective of the client, like, you know, what's their experience, and they're curious to hear about, you know, what things mean, but like have them figure it out, right? So it's really like, it's almost more like you're asking the question, so not really like saying, oh, this means that. It's really, you know, as I'm palpating, then I'm like, are you noticing that right here it's super rigid, and then, or like there's no breath going through here? And that's, that's actually quite often when you're in shock, when you're literally like, okay, hold the breath and wait until the danger is past. And what do you think that does to your body if you've been in that state for 5 years? And really like get them thinking and exploring and like ahaing basically.
Other question that I'm quite curious about. Kind of when would you add adjustments in, like when you did a toggle, for example, or, like
right.
At what point, like, I mean, I know it's not, there's a little bit of a different area. You seem super energized and just like would so like amplify the connection with the
your connection's a little bit shit.
That's then, but I'm just curious to know. Sorry.
But I think I got the question. But how about we talk about that in a future Zoom call? What we could do is the next Zoom call, we could do it about, because Stefano also asked the question, like, how do you communicate with people that have been osseously adjusted? So we could do a little bit more of a Zoom call about how to bridge the two. And also, when do you adjust in that work, right? And the purpose of that. If that's okay with you, because
great.
I'm gonna cut out in less than a minute.
Yes, I need to go anyways.
Yeah. That sounds good too.
Yeah, but really good.
I like all the ideas.
So I'll post in the chat, in the WhatsApp group, when the next call is. It will be in 2 weeks' time, but the Barcelona seminar is then. So we might have to do it on like a Tuesday or something, rather than a Friday. But I'll post it in the group. Awesome. All right. Keep sending questions whenever you have an idea about like